We live in a world where brokenness is so easily overlooked. A cracked sidewalk or a boarded up building, even the people that we walk past, most of the times, we do so with our heads down and our earbuds in. We're taught to move on, to renovate, to replace, and to start over. But who here knows that not everything that's broken necessarily needs to be thrown away? Sometimes what's broken just needs someone to see it from a different vantage point, to see its potential. I genuinely believe that you yourself must be broken in order to see the potential of broken places, broken situations, and broken people around you. I didn't always think of life this way. In fact, 17 years ago, I was flying in a Cessna 172 with 3 friends in the beautiful mountains of Squamish, British Columbia. Actually, not too far away from here. I Googled it. Exactly 31 kilometers. Well, we went down a wrong valley that narrowed quickly. We saw clouds rolling in. And so my friend, he tried to turn the plane around. And in so doing, the plane stalled. One moment, everything was fine. The next, we were plummeting towards the ground. We crashed into the depth of the valley going 100 kilometers an hour. The pilot, my friend, he died on impact. I was unconscious for 20 minutes. Now, my friend Elliot and his girlfriend Leah were in the plane as well. And Elliot, he was able to get Leah out from the plane. She had a broken wrist and was banged up. And here Elliot, about 100 yards away, he looks back at the plane and something in his gut tells him to go back. And so he does. And he begins to shout my name, Dave, and shout my friend's name. His name was Gvithni. He was from Iceland. We called him G for short. No response. Finally, now I'm not suggesting this is good first aid, but he took his hand and he smacked me across my face as hard as he could. And it worked. My first words, my seatbelt, my seatbelt, my seatbelt. He got my seatbelt undone. My leg was shattered. The seat had come forward, pinning my body to the plane. My face broken. My whole body a wreck. Elliot was able to lift up the seat. I was able to get onto his back, and he carried me. And for 6 hours, we waited for search and rescue. In many ways, I remember the silence more than the crash itself, just sitting there waiting. I remember feeling the spirit of my body almost hovering. And friends, I wondered in that moment whether it was going to be the end. But it wasn't. It was just the beginning. And the recovery, it took years. First the wheelchair, then the crutches. My identity had changed. I wasn't the sponsored skateboarder anymore. The doctors, the physiotherapists weren't sure whether my knee would ever be able to sustain skateboarding ever again. But you know what I'm so thankful for? I'm thankful for the community that surrounded me in my season of brokenness, who spoke potential, hope, and faith in a time when I didn't see it myself. Many of them are sitting here today. Thank you. You see, that event in my life, it changed the way that I saw everything around me. When I'd sit with my friends and they were telling me about the hardships that they were going through, I resonated with them. But I saw brokenness in a different light because I was no longer broken. I have been healed. Even the city around me, when I saw buildings that were all boarded up, I thought, man, why has this been broken for so long? It has such potential. Many years later, I would go skateboarding, and this time it was with my son, Jethro. He was 4 years old, and it was raining much like it is today. And he said, Dad, I want to go skateboarding today. I said, you want to go skateboarding? Okay, son. And so we packed the van, and we went to the only place that we could skate in the rain in our city, a grocery store parking garage. I want you to imagine it. Pavement, pillars, and oil stands. And can you believe there was other kids there as well? Why? Because there was no other places for kids to get active when it's raining out. And my son, as I'm opening up the trunk of the car, Jet says, hey, Dad, what are we doing? I said, we're going skating, Jet. He said, Dad, why are we in a parking garage? That one question was the birth of a vision. Why? Because I began to look around and I said, man, this is not whole. This is a broken situation. Here in BC, listen, last year we got 187 days of rain. That's 52% of the year. Kids, for the most part, unless they have a rec center that's close by, they're rather going on their phones, sitting and getting themselves into trouble instead of having an easy access to a safe and dry location where they can practice their activity. And so I started a not-for-profit called Skate Under Cover. So I went to every single mayor, every council member, anybody who would give me an ear, and I shared about this issue that we have as a province and as a country. And you know what? Many of them listened. They nodded. They said, yeah, you're right. But still today, after 5 years, we have yet to solve the problem. Our not-for-profit has accomplished over $1.4 million in our advocacy work in restoring old skate parks and resurfacing and adding new additions, and that's all amazing. But we still haven't solved the problem. So a year ago, I was looking around my team, my volunteers who are helping me out, and I heard a great quote, and it was this: when they won't give you a seat at their table, it's time to build your own. And so I said to my friends, I said, guys, we got to build our own indoor skate park. And here's what it would take. It wouldn't be a perfect building. It would be a broken one. You see, we took a chance on an 82-year-old pub in Port Moody. Maybe you know it. It's called The Point. It's been there for ages. And you know what? We took out the 37-foot bar that used to serve drinks, and now we serve kickflips and pop shove-its. I want you to imagine this old building. We got a skate park on the inside, and guess what? A sauna and ice bath on the patio. Upstairs, we got a little cafe for parents to hang out. And we had over 60 artists in the last year of us building this thing come through and make beautiful pieces of art. And then on the outside, we've painted an 80-foot mural. We partnered with the city. We got an orca and a bear and a train celebrating the spirit of Port Moody. Friends, we took this old building and we transformed it into a community hub. All it took was a spark of vision. And you know what I've seen? As this building has come alive, the people inside it have come alive too. I have seen kids who are ready to drop out of high school pick up a paintbrush instead and stay in school and be mentored by older guys. I've seen strangers become family. I've seen a community forged, not through perfection, but shared purpose. So here's what I want you to know. Your pain has a purpose. Inside your mess is a message to the world. And so, if you think about it, after the crash, I recovered, but I didn't go back to who I was. I went forward as someone who understood that hidden in my weakness is actually my strength. There's a strength that is forged through suffering and a beauty that is birthed in brokenness. You know what I believe? When we begin to heal, when we begin to rise out of our valley of ashes, we have the ability to grab people with us and help them rise out of theirs. What if you and I saw brokenness in this way? What if the buildings in our cities that remain closed for a plethora of reasons, what if we saw the hidden potential in them and we created communities, places of connection, even if it's for but a moment? And so here's my invitation to you, is to go back to the moment that broke you. Not to relive it, but to reawaken it. What if the thing that hurt you was the thing that had the potential to help somebody else heal? Hey, so 2 nights ago, I was at my local sauna. It's called the Toonie Hour. The last hour of the day, it's $2. So anybody who's on a tight budget, they all show up at the same time. You got 1 hour to sauna, and I always see the same people, but it's always packed. A sauna that's made for like 10 people, there's like 25 of us, you know? If you're claustrophobic, don't go. It's the worst, right? But anyway, so here I am, I'm in the sauna, and this guy, David, who shares my name, he says, "Hey, Dave, you're doing your TED Talk in 2 days. Hey." I'm like, "Yeah," everyone's chatting in the sauna. It's kind of loud, so he's yelling. And then he says, "Hey, Dave, why don't you give your talk right now?" I'm like, "What, in the sauna?" He says, "Yeah, hey, Bill, shut up. Hey, Susan, Dave's going to do his TED Talk right now." Like, you think this is nerve-wracking? Do it in a hot sauna full of sweaty people, all right? So I do my talk, start to finish. And at the end of it, they were all really encouraging. And then David said this. He said, "Dave, I've heard it said that if you're a little nervous about public speaking, you're supposed to imagine people in their underwear." You didn't have to do that. We're all in our underwear. I thought that was good. But then he said these words. He said, "Dave, I used to struggle with addiction, but I got sober. And now I leverage social media and I share my story and my journey, and I inspire thousands all over the world to get sober as well. So I actually leverage my season of brokenness and I help others begin to build again." You see, he's a perfect example of how you and I can take the seasons of our lives, our past, that may not be something that you speak on often, and we leverage it to help others. You see, your crash doesn't have to be your conclusion. In fact, I think in it is hidden your calling. And maybe, the very thing that broke you is the very thing that helps another person begin to build a life again. I'll see you in the sauna. Thank you so much.